East Point Community Schools Board of Education, November 11th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Please call the roll. Here.
Dr. Early,
Here.
Mr. Williams here, Mr. Roscoe,
Here.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Before we get into approval of the agenda, we're going to add an item to number 8. It'll be 3. And that's going to be regarding a resolution. 8.3A is the way it shows on here.
3 and then A.
Right, 8.3A. Yeah, under human resources, I'm sorry. 8, yeah, A3A. But if you want to, you can probably just put it down, it's a 2% retention bonus. We'll get into it when we get there. Okay, it's 8A, 3A. What's that?
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment?
Place forth a motion to approve the agenda as written.
support.
Please call the vote.
One moment, please, it needs to,
With
yeah, the resolution, that you need to approve the agenda with the.
With the amendment.
With Amendment 3A.
Yeah.
Okay. Place forth a motion to approve the minutes, the agenda with the amendment 3A. Good.
Support.
Okay, please call the vote.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford,
No.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Comments, questions? Please call the vote.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford,
No.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have superintendent's report. Superintendent Gibson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, and for those of you joining us at home or in your remote location. This is the superintendent's report, maybe, for today, November 11th. We've got a number of veterans on the board, as well as veterans in our schools. So a big thank you. Today is Veterans Day, and thank you to all who have served. If you have served the country, would you please stand up and be acknowledged for your service at this time? Thank you all so much for what you have done, not only in service to your community, but also to our country. We continue on a campaign for excellence here at East Point Community Schools. And with that, we would like to welcome our new board members this evening. Sitting at the lower dais, we have Darlene Whitby, as well as Shelley Chopa, who were newly elected. For those of you unfamiliar with orienting and bringing on elected board members, the new board members would be sworn in 10 days after the certification of the election. The terms for the trustees elected last week will begin on January 1st and end on December 31st. We in East Point have 4-year terms. A ceremonial swearing in will occur at the organizational meeting on January 13th, 2025. In October of 2023, this board created some subcommittees to improve our onboarding of new board members. I'd like to thank again the subcommittee chaired by Ed Williams and joined by Addie Richardson and Cassie Gruenberg. The committee did a fantastic job. I'm very proud of the product that this board produced. We have a new board member orientation schedule. And so we have invited our newly elected board members here this evening. They will participate in joining us in our meetings, but will have no voting rights. Then we will begin in December, starting to orient them to their role and service to this community by sharing more about our work, as well as then begins the journey of learning how to serve as a publicly elected official. So I want to again thank you to the committee for this work, and thank you to the board for the hard work you did to welcome new board members to our service. Trunk or treat, a huge thank you to Todd Yarch and in particular Catherine Davis. Catherine helped to lead bringing back a longtime tradition in East Point Community Schools with the district trunk or treat. I think the goal was to have at least 20 cars participating, and we exceeded that goal. And we did have to close early because we had over, I think there between 500 and 700 families and children come through. We ran out of candy about a half an hour before the end of trunk or treat because there was such a high volume. And it was an amazing and fun opportunity to connect with so many people in our community and all of our families. So thank you to all of those community members, teachers, and staff who participated in the district trunk or treat. Thank you. This Sunday, a number of our students, NHS volunteers, participated in the Rare Big Bird Run. There was rainy, it was a little bit cold, but our students showed up and helped to support Rare and passed out medals to all of the runners who completed the Big Bird Run this Sunday. Literacy learning at Crescentwood. This is just a snapshot, but I again want to remind the community as well as the board of that curriculum, the iReady magnetic letters reading curriculum. We are seeing some fantastic results in our schools with this new resource and curriculum that the board approved and implemented. And while this picture is of Mrs. Moll's first graders at Crescentwood, Caitlin, who snapped the picture, was exceedingly impressed. She said, "I've never seen kids be so excited about learning and doing schoolwork." So thank you again to the Board of Education for purchasing the curriculum resources that are being used in our schools. A library time at Bellevue and Pleasant View. We continue to capture students engaged and participating in the love of books in our media centers. A big thank you to all of our media center paraprofessionals for all the work they do in setting up those media spaces to encourage great reading. East Point High School had an East Point High School's Got Talent show. And a big thank you to Allie and Antrese, who worked with our high school students to show off their musical, dance, and poetry talents before the Halloween. ELC Family Halloween event. Our ELC students and their families had a great time playing games, making crafts, and hearing stories together. Everybody loves the hand popcorn. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you know, those candy corn fingernails get me every time. But a big thank you to all of our staff who use the Halloween not only to have fun, but also to engage our families and to infuse learning. We began our work with Dr. Jay Marks well before our event this past week, but we've continued to bring Jay back because he helps to bring an awareness to a more equitable and culturally competent conversation in our organization. A big thank you to all of our teachers and staff. We did, and to the Macomb Intermediate School District. When we asked Dr. Marks to come back, he said, "I've got to have tables, round tables, so that people, and a big enough space for people to move around." Unfortunately, in East Point, there is not a space to accommodate 250 people at round tables. So our staff did travel all the way to the Macomb Intermediate School District on Tuesday, November 5th. to participate and engage in learning. And we have some great feedback from the team about some uncomfortable feelings, but also some great feelings about how it raised awareness for them. So we are excited to continue this work. Dr. Marks is interested in continuing his journey. The Macomb Intermediate School District is also contracted with Dr. Marks to infuse the work throughout Macomb County. So big thank you again to all of our staff for traveling up to the Macomb Intermediate School District and participating. We did close central office as well, so everybody in the district had an opportunity to learn more together. A big thank you to Shannon Elliott. For those of you that don't know, Shannon is the Athletic and Activities Department Secretary. During a leadership transition, Shannon has been keeping the ball rolling in athletics. So a huge thank you to her for all of her work in helping to make the fall athletic season a success. We did welcome our new Athletic and Activities Director, Paris McCarthy, this week. And Paris will be taking on some of the work that Shannon had taken on during the transition. But a big thank you to Shannon Elliott this evening. This evening, the Board of Education graciously has added an item under action and discussion for a resolution for a 2% retention bonus. Previously, our district has provided a 2% bonus around the end of first semester. We used our ESSER funds as a strategy for retaining our staff. We are committed to improving compensation for all of our employees. We know it is the employees in our schools working with children every day. And this bonus is one way for our staff to know that they are valued and to keep our talented educators here in East Point. If approved by the Board of Education this evening, the eligible groups previously identified in the bonuses will receive communication regarding the memorandum of understanding or the contract addendum for their employee group. Again, this is being brought forward to the Board of Education because of some new flexibility in the 31A, which allows us to use 31A at-risk funds as a retention bonus to ensure that we can keep our staff employed and retained. Come back and just to remind the community and the board that we did have a strategic plan that was approved in 2023. Part of our long-term facilities master plan was identified in goal 5 of that strategic plan. In 2023, the district contracted with Woolpert on a long-term plan for building consolidation and the best utilization of East Point Community Schools property. We did use funds through the state 11X grant to contract with Woolpert for this study. In June of 2024, the Board of Education took direction after a year of study and decided to set the course to have one early learning center for K-5 elementary schools, and that shift would begin in 2025-26, and one 6 through 12 unified campus. K through 5 elementary schools, part of that process will need to begin now. This week, preschool and elementary families will get an initial communication from the Office of the Superintendent about shifting to K-5 schools for next year. Families will be provided with a survey to be part of how we can work collaboratively through this transition. I want to remind the community a little bit about why East Point Community Schools is returning to K-5. And it was because our families expressed a desire to have all of their elementary age children in one school. In many community surveys that we put out, families would also often express their frustration with having to drop kids off at a K-2 school and a 3-5 school. Families often lifted that they wanted to have improved relationships with their school and better continuity with the K-5 experience. If we are to live into being a family-centered community, and part of the city of East Point is, their motto is a family town, we should be collaborating together around our schools and work together. So we will be beginning that conversation for the 2025-26 school year by sending out an initial communication to our families. Again, this long-term facilities master plan brings us back to a centralized early learning center, 4 K-5 schools, and a unified 612 campus. One of the pieces about our work is that we have a 2023 bond that was designed to improve our facilities. Before we invest any money into East Point Middle School or East Point High School, using those bond dollars, we will be having a unified 612 vision planning session on November 27th. The long-term plan calls for the district to create a unified campus that will centralize resources and opportunities for all secondary students. But before we finalize any building plans, we need to determine what we want to accomplish. Our strategic plan has defined what we want. We know that we want to have a portrait of a graduate and put children out. But part of that is that we have to radically transform our public school system. Gone are the days that we can continue to operate with children sitting in desks 6 hours a day, and instead we need to have a transformative conversation about what we want to provide academically and programmatically with all of our partners. We know that the joint committee between the city and the district has brought up and raised some awareness with the community about some opportunities that they would like to see our schools provide. So before we invest and continue to do the same thing, we will be having a vision planning session that takes the what of the strategic plan and starts to quantify that into how we will do it. So our hope after this session is to have a phase in at least 3 years that helps our team sequentially step through. Once we know the program that we will be providing and that we believe 6 through 12 children deserve, we will then start to align the facility with the program. So if you are interested in participating in the 6 through 12 visioning conversation, we are going to be building a team of 40 people. It will include community members, but also some of our own staff. If you are interested in being part of this conversation and you are interested in being part of radically renewing the way that we do education in 612, please call the Office of the Superintendent, 586-533-3023. We will be sending out this invitation to more community leaders and also inviting some staff to the conversation. But if you're compelled to be part of that and you believe that public education can serve this community differently, we would love to hear from you. Upcoming events, we have November 27th as our 6 through 12 visioning. It will be at East Point High School from 9 to noon. We will be on Thanksgiving break from the 27th to the 29th. Then December 23rd through January 3rd will be our holiday break. Our fall sports are starting to kick up. Thank you, Dan Zander, for my winter sports schedule. Greatly appreciated. Please check our website to stay up to date on all of those. Next, I'd like to invite Principal Todd Yarch up to the podium. Principal Yarch will take us through and give the Board of Education an update on our 8 through 12 campus and the work that he and his team are leading this year. Principal Yarch, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you guys for having me here tonight to talk about the high school. It's been an incredible start to our year. It's been a lot of changes, but our students are really kind of motivated and doing a lot of the things that we want them to enjoy and have fun with learning this year. So some of the new things, and a lot of the work that led to what's new at the high school this year came from last year's surveys with our students and our community and our staff, and really focusing on, what do our students want? And they wanted to have more of I guess, traditional high school experience with, the types of activities and things that they would find everywhere else. They also wanted a place that they felt like there was, they were more safe and there was more pride. So one of the things that we did was, to move the entrance back to the original entrance from 1929 to the front of the school, to make it feel like a real school atmosphere coming in. You guys all know that originally students came in through the parking lot, through the side door. This gives the morning just a feel of school. And the students have even said it feels different walking in. It also gave us a chance to do more of our security measures because there is much more space going into the cobblestone areas, but it makes it feel more like school. We reduce the footprint within the building. So the building, is, you all know, is extremely large. So we no longer use 3 new, moved all the students down. So 9th through 12th just use the 1st and 2nd floor, and the 8th grade resides where they always have in 3 old, which then consolidated where we were putting all of our safety and security personnel. It also allowed teachers to all be next to each other and have more of a dense population of teachers in the hallway instead of being spread out because we had the space and could move people around. So it really gives it a much more comfortable atmosphere. And then also we had a lot of fresh faces. As you know, we will be going through in the next few years a transition. As some of our veteran teachers begin to retire, we'll be bringing in new staff. And the new staff that we brought in this year has brought in an energy and ideas that have really helped move our school forward. And then also the instructional programs and activities that we either kind of added or brought back or didn't know we had and learned that we did to bring back, our drama and choir, law enforcement with our school resource officer, Detective Marcel Prude, leading that for us, Spanish, and Thespian Society, which you see the students with their certificates right there that they just got into last week. So some of the academic highlights from the end of the summer into the school year. So the first quarter, we had 149 students, grades 9 through 12, make our honor roll with a 3.0 GPA or better. 39 students in grades 8-12 earned all A's on their first quarter report card. And using that gives our staff grade level teams a chance to break down where students are and then also start personalizing a plan for each of their needs where they need intervention. Our EVA and online credit recovery program during the summer led to 96 credits earned by students to help get them back on track to graduate. Our after-school programs, we got started immediately within the first 3 weeks of school in September to get an early start on providing students with intervention and assistance. And then also through our partnership with UVA, the 90-day plan has really given us an outline and some strategic goals to be able to make sure that we're getting the continuous growth in math and ELA with the new curriculum. And then these are going to be some of the same pictures. I don't think we have all the same ones from Superintendent Gibson's, but the ECS Trunk or Treat was something that it was my first time being at it, and it was really, really spectacular. Over 500 students. We had 18 cars, but then when you added in the police and the fire department, that took us over 20. But also having the ability to connect with the other schools in the district and kind of break down how, the high school and the big kids and all of that, and see the big kids out there, helping the kids go through the line and things like that kind of took away some of the stigma maybe of the high school. So we've been really trying to really get our kids out to be our ambassadors. And then National Honor Society, as you see, they have been great this year, and they have been out there and being the ambassadors that we want them to be as well. Oh, sorry, I was waiting for it to move there. So as Superintendent Gibson mentioned, we had our first talent show this year. It was led by Allison Taylor and Andres Ramsey, our new English teacher and drama director and our new music director. And 9 students performed, all vocal performance, guitar solo, rap, spoken word, interpretive dance. And it was really great because we did a performance during the school day for students as part of a PBIS reward, and then we had the one in the evening. And it just was a great chance to have it as a start to get them moving. They have both done a tremendous job of kind of getting the stage ready to go and getting it ready for performances. And I was just talking with Principal Trice, we're gonna actually be bringing this to the elementary schools and doing a performance for the little kids that come to the school as well, so they can also see our kids in action. Manufacturing Day, is a yearly thing for our CTE students. I got to go this year, which I was amazed at what we went to see at Dana Industries. The students learned about manufacturing, robotics, forging, and other related fields, which was really cool, is that the parts that were being made were some cars that they would see on the road right now, and that kind of brought a connection to it. But the coolest part of it was, as you see up in the right corner, is the students being able to control one of the robots that is in there that is moving all of the parts around. Everything was done with robots and having to understand, how to use those and how to how to program those. The students got a lot out of the trip. We have students that this is what they want to go into, that were excited, and then you had some that were like, well, I want to do both college and manufacturing. Like, I want to do both. So exposing them to these types of, environments and these types of careers are things that we are really working hard with at the high school. And this was another one of those days. And the ISD puts on a great program with Manufacturing Day. So as we get into the school year now we've kind of gotten through our fall testing season. So you can kind of see this is from, this is our percent meeting projected growth based on our CSI goals. So the red box indicates where our benchmark was in 21, 22. And then you see the next one where we were last year at the end of the school year and where we are this year after the fall testing season. So we are making the amount of growth necessary to meet our goals as far as projected growth. For state proficiency, once again, you see the two things now. This is based on our MSTEP results. So that's why I put an asterisk there for the fall proficiency is taken from, the NWA, which makes it equivalent to that. But you can see that our students are on track. We still have much more growth to do to get them on grade level, but our students are making the progress that we want to see them making. And moving forward, many of the things that we put into place last year we're continuing with, and we're starting to see our students taking ownership of their learning. This senior class is probably one that has tremendous pride in East Point High School, and we've seen them in the way that they've approached many things this year. We're increasing our extracurricular activities for our students, and then also the CTE career and explorations. One of the things that we're committed to as well is our dual credit options for students that we're really trying to push with Macomb Community College, and then creating more student leadership opportunities. And that ability to connect our students with the elementary schools, with the middle schools, and other places in the community, I think will definitely help show what our students are really like instead of what is heard, because that's what we want to see, is our students being our best ambassadors. With our staff, we've really kind of turned the page and really created that professional instructional culture, led by some of our great teacher leaders that are part of our BTN, and then also through the UVA partnership. We're focusing on our curriculum and doing it with fidelity, innovative and engaging instruction through our CITW professional development at the beginning of the year, and then just really wanting to promote professional learning opportunities, get our staff out there to be able to see what's going on in other districts and other places throughout the country, while also, recruiting and coaching our next generation of teachers at East Point High School, the ones that will be here for the next 30 and 40 years, like the ones that will be leaving us in the next couple of years as well. So, thank you very much.
Does the board have any questions for Principal Yarch about some of the work at East Point High School?
I have one question. What's the number of student population for 9 through 12?
9 through 12 is just over 500. It's around 633 total with the 8th grade in there.
Thank you.
I just want a little clarification on something that I saw up there. The person playing the bass guitar in the talent competition, are they the same person? Did I see them with the thespian certificate as well?
And our state champion.
Oh, and our state championship shot
Yes.
putter.
Yes, that is her.
Now, do you know historically, I'm not sure, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think any senior class walking the halls in the history of that school has ever been able to say that they have a returning state champ amongst them. I'm betting
don't
that's the
know.
case.
I
So when
have to
people
check that.
want to tear us down for some of the things we're doing, they better
Yeah.
think about what's going on up there.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I'm
absolutely.
telling you what, I mean, I know we've had some state championships before, but I think it's usually been seniors who are
Seniors.
leaving the following year.
Yeah, that's
I
something
think
we'll
this is
have to
probably the
get on.
first time we've ever had a junior actually win a state championship.
We'll have to get on that, absolutely, yes.
I just want to commend you on what you're doing and the direction the kids are going. But I had a question about the deficiency, the 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify that a little bit more? Is that the growth or that's? where
That's
you're at?
students on grade level.
Okay.
So they are at the appropriate grade level
Okay,
in
so they're
math.
right on task.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Great job.
thank you.
My question was, kind of in that same vein, how far are we off of the national level? Or even the state level?
Quite a bit in math, yes, yeah. So that's where our biggest growth is, and that's also one of the reasons for the new curriculum, to be able to standardize everything we're doing. And I think as our teachers have gotten more familiar with that and getting better with it, you're gonna start seeing that definitely go up. The growth is there, it's just now catching them up. You know, we've gotta double it. We've gotta double it and triple it, and that's what we're doing. And you know, our math team is bought into the curriculum and is moving forward with that.
It looks good, you're going in the right direction.
I got a question. Is the arts and the activities that you have, is that open through, to all the students 9 through 12 or 8 through 12?
9 through 12, yes, yes. For the talent show, she did several auditions, and those were the only 9 that made it and wanted to, I mean, more made it, but that wanted to
Yeah.
perform in front of
That's a
everyone.
start. I'm excited about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's something that we once had before, and when it comes back, I think it'll grow.
Yeah, and there were kids that you wouldn't have expected that were part of that and did a great job, and that's exactly it. Those are the types of things you want to see.
And I
Yes.
also like the fact that you utilize the front door instead of the parking lot door. It makes a big difference. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
Mhm.
Keep up the good work.
thank you.
I'd just like to reiterate again, you said there's 500 students from 9 to 12?
Yes.
And 633 in the 8th grade?
No, that's the whole school.
633 for the entire high school?
8 through 12,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Principal
Thank
Yanish.
you very much. Thank
That
you.
concludes the superintendent's report this evening.
Okay, next on the agenda is hearing of the public. Does anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing of the public closes at 7:03. Discussion action, human resources, instructional new hires. Is there a motion to support the instructional new hires?
Place forward the motion to support the new hires.
Please call the vote. These are EFE, so it's all one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Grunberg?
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg?
Yes.
Dr. Early?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford?
No.
Mrs. Richardson?
Yes.
Next, we have non-instructional new hires.
I'd like to interject briefly.
Oh, wait a minute,
Dr.
I was going to ask you, do we have?
Robin Thompson is
I
here
meant to ask you.
and has joined us. This position, the Director of School Leadership, was created out of needs that we saw rising in our organization in the support, coaching, and needs that principals have in growing. We provide instructional coaches to teachers to improve the practice of teaching. Lots of professions deploy and have coaches as guides on the side. And through our learning at UVA this summer, as well as through a need in our organization, we felt that adding a director of school leadership would be in our best interest, but it had to be the right person. So we spent quite a bit of time searching, and we were lucky enough to have Dr. Robin Thompson join us. Robin has worked all over public education, most recently serving in this capacity in Ann Arbor Public Schools. She was also a superintendent and spent well over a decade with Utica Community Schools in a variety of roles. She is an experienced principal, and we could not be luckier to have Dr. Robin Thompson joining us.
The certification, the administration does the hiring. We just support that aspect of it. But we like having you here because we love welcoming new people to the district. So,
I make a motion that we approve the support of the non-instructor new hire, Dr. Thompson.
Support.
please call the vote.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford. Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
Motion carries. Then we have that item 3 that we were talking about. I'm sure somebody wants to let us know what it's all about before we make a motion.
Superintendent's report. Yes, please. This evening, we're requesting that the Board of Education adopt a resolution to authorize and give administration the authority to enter into a 2% retention bonus with impacted employee groups. The district has worked with the presidents of all the unions, reviewed our contracts with our non-affiliates and our EduStaff contracted employees. Using 31A funds, we would like to, for the teachers and the paraprofessionals, utilize the 31A as a retention bonus for all of our staff. This bonus would be paid out at the second payroll in December. It will honor all of our employees, and it is a great opportunity for us as a Board of Education to thank them for their continued commitment to East Point Community Schools in its children that we serve.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Question?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Questions?
Okay, well, we'll do the questions first. Normally, a motion's on the floor, and then we ask questions, but that's okay. We'll go questions first. Who
Okay.
had a question? Somebody said first.
Well, I did because I was wondering if you were going to do that all together or just because I'm not supposed to be voting on the one for EduStaff. That's the question. Were we voting?
Yep, good question. So on this resolution, the board would give the administration the authority to enter into the 2% bonuses. I've given the Board of Education all the drafted MOUs and the contract addendums. Instead of voting on each one at a time, you would give administration the authorization to enter into these. So you would not have to abstain from that because you would be authorizing administration to take that.
Okay. That's why I wanted to ask.
Thank you so
And then
much.
my question was, you mentioned paraprofessional.
This would be for every employee that is a member of the East Point Federation of Educators, the Local 120 Food Service, ADESA, the Secretarials Union, EXA, the Administrators Union, the non-affiliate contracts, and all of the EduStaff contracted employees. So basically, everybody that's a direct hire with the organization, plus the EduStaff employees that are on direct contracts with the district.
Okay, but you did mention
Paraprofessionals would absolutely, Ms. Richardson, we believe that the work that paraprofessionals and teachers are doing in our organization is absolutely paramount to our continued success as an organization. And we believe that teachers and paraprofessionals and the support staff building leadership that help to run our schools, they need to all be included in this because it is all collective work together. And we would like to honor and use those 31A funds to retain and celebrate all the hardworking educators and support staff in this entire organization.
Yeah, that's good, because I started as a
I
parapro.
know.
So I just want to make
I
sure I
think you
heard
started
that.
as a volunteer
Yeah, volunteer,
first,
yeah,
right?
but I just want to make sure I heard that
The
correctly.
paraprofessionals would
Yes.
absolutely be included, yes, ma'am.
And my question would be a little bit towards Chair to the Speaker, Madam Superintendent. Is everyone eligible to get the 2% raise, or is it someone or some body of workers out there that may have been but moved on?
So employees who are not actively employed with the district on December 20th would not be eligible. This is for employees who have committed to staying with the organization. So those employees that have worked less than 50% of the days between August 20 and December 20, and those employees who have resigned and left the organization would not be eligible. Only those who are still working with the organization and employed on December 20th will receive the bonus.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any others?
No, he got mine.
You got yours? That's scary. I can't say please call the vote. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to
I'll
approve?
make the motion to support the resolution.
Someone needs to, first make.
Make a motion to
make the
adopt the
motion.
resolution.
Trying to do that.
I'm supporting.
So, Ms. Hall Rayford is making a motion.
Motion to adopt the
To
resolution.
adopt the resolution.
Yes.
And the resolution is to authorize and give administration the authority to enter into a 2% retention bonus, and an MOU and contract addendum.
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. And Dr. Early supports.
Any other questions or comments? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes, Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
and Mrs. Grunberg.
Yes.
I think, I'm looking at this, I get confused here because of something he did. Yeah, I know, but I'm getting confused. He did something down there. Anyways, is there a motion to go into executive closed session?
I make the motion that we go into executive closed session for the student hearing, for the student discipline, FERPA.
Support?
Support.
Okay, please call the vote.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Rayford?
Yes.
Mr. Grunberg?
Yes.
Dr. Early?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Grunberg?
Yes.
Those of you joining us in membership in the audience, this is our last item for action. We will come back out at the conclusion of the executive closed session, but there will be no more official board business. You may be excused unless you choose to find out the results.